So this is where the every day starts with us during the run.
Most animated shows take 8 months and an army of overseas animators just to deliver one episode. But not South Park. They finish in 6 days. No safety net, no backup plan, just a whiteboard on Thursday and a deadline on Wednesday night. Today, we're counting down the top 7 secrets behind how South Park is made. Number 7, the 6-day sprint. Here's how the 6-day sprint works. Thursday morning, the writer's room is blank. No script, no title, just a whiteboard that says air date Wednesday. By midnight, they're doing a table read. Jokes that bomb get cut before sunrise. Friday, animators are building characters and backgrounds. Saturday, Trey records most of the voices in a booth the size of a porta-potty bathroom. Sunday is rough animation. Monday is polish. Tuesday is sound and effects. Wednesday at noon, the show exports. If a big news story breaks that morning, they'll rewrite and reanimate before Comedy Central gets the file at 7 p.m. For other shows, that would be a meltdown. For South Park, it's business as usual. That's the kind of brutal editing most shows couldn't survive. But if you've got a weird appreciation for this kind of creative masochism, subscribing might just be the responsible thing to do, assuming you want more of it in your feed. Number 6, why it has to be this fast. South Park's speed isn't an accident, it's the whole point. The show lives on topical humor. If they waited even 2 weeks, the joke would already be stale. That's why the 6-day turnaround isn't just crazy, it's necessary. The schedule also shapes how the comedy works. Trey Parker calls it the panic filter. With no time to overthink, only the sharpest jokes survive. If a gag still makes them laugh when everyone's exhausted and stressed, it's worth airing. You can see why speed matters in episodes like Trapped in the Closet.
Is this where he lives? Is this where L. Ron Hubbard is? Oh my God!
Yes, John Travolta and Tom Cruise are big Scientologists. Do you believe me now?
It hit right as Scientology was everywhere in the news. That timing made the episode explosive, so much so that Chef's voice actor, Isaac Hayes, walked away from the show. Whether he quit on principle or was pushed out by his Scientology circle is still debated. Either way, that episode only had impact because South Park works in real time. There's also a rule they swear by. Every scene has to connect with but or therefore. If they catch an and then between 2 beats, they trash the page and start over. That rule keeps the story tight, funny, and way cheaper to animate. No wasted shots, no filler. It's why South Park episodes feel like they're sprinting toward the punchline. The pressure squeezes out all the fat. That's the secret. Speed isn't killing South Park. Speed is what keeps it alive. Number 5, From Scissors to Maya. When South Park first aired, people thought it looked like a middle school art project, and that was the charm. What most fans don't realize is how carefully engineered that look actually is. The pilot episode was made with literal cardboard cutouts. Around Season 5, the team began using Autodesk Maya in their pipeline, but instead of polishing the animation, they kept the blocky, jerky style on purpose. It still looked like construction paper kids, even though it was running on pro software. The real trick is efficiency. Every character is modular, built out of swappable eyes, mouths, and clothes. Cartman's outfit can be changed faster than you can switch tabs. Backgrounds aren't fully drawn either. They're flat planes stacked in 3D space, so moving the camera automatically creates depth without extra work. Trey once said Comedy Central almost canceled South Park after Season 1 for being too ugly to survive. Ratings were the only thing that saved it. The style that nearly killed the show is the same one that made it untouchable. It's a system that looks crude on the outside but is brilliant under the hood. Fans see cheap animation. What they're really looking at is one of the smartest production pipelines in television. South Park isn't simple by accident. It's simple because simple is fast, and fast is survival. Number 4, Trey and Matt's partnership. Trey's the wild genius behind the wheel, writing, directing, and flooring it at every turn. Matt's the one grabbing the wheel. Just before they launch into a ditch made of copyright lawsuits and bad taste, you can see it in the documentary, 6 Days to Air. Midweek, Matt quietly deletes an entire B-plot, calling it filler. Trey doesn't argue because he trusts him, and that's their balance. One pushes every crazy idea forward, the other keeps it grounded, but the cracks show. At one point, Trey breaks down in tears, saying he doesn't know if he can finish. Matt doesn't comfort him. He just says, "We always think we can't, and then we do." That's their rhythm. No soft landings, no pep talks, just brute force until the episode ships. They've been at this since college, fighting like roommates over the Xbox controller. It's not always pretty, but that friction keeps the show sharp. Without Matt trimming, Trey's wildest scripts would collapse. Without Trey's drive, Matt's edits wouldn't matter. Trey's the guy mashing the accelerator. Matt's the one yanking the handbrake before they drift off a cliff. Number 3, voice tricks you never noticed. If you grew up quoting Cartman or Stan, you probably never thought about how those voices stay the same after nearly 30 years.
Sparky, where'd you get that pink scarf?
Man, that is the gayest dog I have ever seen.
He just needs some training, that's all. Sit, Sparky.
The trick is all in the recording booth. Most of the boys' voices, except Kenny, are pitched up in post-production to make them sound younger. Kenny's muffled voice is recorded normally, then run through a filter to make it sound like nonsense you can almost understand. Fans know the lines by heart, even if they can't fully hear them. Trey Parker records most of the characters himself in a tiny booth. 2 mics, a script that's still being rewritten, and 4 hours of non-stop voice flips. Cartman's voice comes from him dropping his jaw instead of tightening his throat, a trick that keeps him from blowing out his voice. For Drunk Randy, Trey presses his tongue against his teeth to add a subtle slur. It's simple, but it works. That's why South Park characters still sound exactly like they did when you first snuck an episode. Number 2, the Friday Night Death Sprint. By Friday night, most shows are polishing episodes that have been in production for months. For South Park, Friday night means the episode is barely holding together. The team calls this stage locked, but that word doesn't mean what it does anywhere else in Hollywood. Animators are still tweaking shots. Compositors are stitching layers together. Music is being scored to scenes that were finished hours earlier. The Foley crew is smashing bananas, pasta, and anything else they can find to create the gross, over-the-top sounds the show is known for. And then there are the last-minute changes. If a news story breaks on Saturday that makes a joke look old, they'll redraw a background or rewrite a gag overnight. Other shows would call it scope creep, a nightmare. For South Park, it's just the weekend. According to the documentary, 6 days to air, you'll see it. Animators passed out under desks, Trey admitting he hasn't showered in days, and the whole crew running on Red Bull in panic. That chaos is the process. This is the perfect picture of how the show survives. Constant pressure, last-second fixes, and somehow a finished episode by Wednesday. Number 1, the Election Night Miracle. Most shows would never risk building an episode around something as unpredictable as a presidential election. South Park did it live. In 2008, the team wrote 2 versions of About Last Night while polls were still open. By 11 p.m., they bet on Obama winning and turned the story into a full-on heist movie. Animators went into overdrive, cranking out shots overnight while the script was still hot. By Wednesday, the episode was nearly finished, but not on time. The final file was sent to Comedy Central at 9:58 p.m., 2 minutes before airtime. The control room clock literally hit 0 as the episode uplinked to broadcast. That close call made TV history. It proved the point. South Park isn't built for safety, it's built for risk. And somehow, betting everything on a deadline has kept it alive longer than anyone ever expected. No other show could gamble on real events, deliver minutes before air, and still stick the landing. South Park thrives where everyone else would break. The Season 27 shakeup. Season 27 broke the system. After decades of cranking out episodes in 6 days, the grind started to shred their health. Matt Stone once described it as a slow-motion car crash on your immune system. To ease the pressure, they tried a bi-weekly schedule, 1 extra week to breathe. But even then, deadlines slipped. The season itself was delayed thanks to Paramount Plus and Skydance duking it out in court. By the time things cleared, some episodes had to be rewritten because the world had already shifted under them. And as Trey Parker admits, no matter how much time they're given, most episodes still come together minutes before delivery. Fans weren't thrilled. Delays sparked speculation online. Was the show burning out, or were they holding back bigger episodes? That tension made every release feel like an event, even when the schedule was messy. South Park isn't built for comfort. It's built for chaos. 6-day sprints, last-second rewrites, and now even a bi-weekly experiment that still collapses into panic. That's why it works. What do you think the real secret is to South Park's survival? Speed, style, or sheer refusal to die? If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out every time South Park changed their animation style. Click here to find out more.